let's look at a broader perspective in terms of the rights of consumers in Nigeria. What are those rights? There are quite a number of them that I have here with me. I wanted to enlighten us as to rights that a consumer has at any point in time.
Yes, I think the rights have been repeated again and again, and like I said, consumer education is really at the core of our activities. At the Consumer Protection Council, we have an entire department for consumer education, and over the last few months, you will notice the Consumer Protection Council is always on television, on radio, on newspaper, and I think this was through our Director General, Mrs. Dupe Atoki. The consumer rights are basically the same, the 8 rights that we have known. Yeah. First, you have the right to satisfaction of basic need. And that's one thing I thought was not really emphasized in this law. But satisfaction of basic need is one basic right of consumers. The right to choice. You should be able to choose. And that's why we're against monopoly in Nigeria. We want Nigerian consumers to be able to go to the market and have whatever he wants by his own choice. Of course, we also have the right to consumer education. We have the right to, this consumer right to education is what we have been hammering upon over the years, doing what we are doing even at this stage. The consumer, of course, has the right to representation, right to redress. Right to representation means that whether he could represent himself or through lawyers or through NGOs, through agencies that he would want to represent him. Of course, the right to healthy environment is also a basic right of the consumer. But I've also noticed that what the Lagos State law has done is to bring the right to be informed, the right to seek redress, the right to be heard, and the right to consumer education into the law. These 4 aspects of the law are well captured in the Lagos State Act. But like I said, a few others were missed out, maybe. I do not know the idea. But again, the fact that it is not directly stated in the law does not mean it's excluded in enforcing it. I'm sure that those who are put in authority to handle the law will be able to implement all those aspects.
Oh, all right. Isabel, Tab was talking about monopoly, and I was just thinking that we've been able to really address the issue of monopoly. You know, how a businessman is the only one in that line of business, and it seems he's doing all he can to ensure that no one else comes into that kind of business, thereby not allowing consumers to have a variety of products to choose from. Have we been able to, address that, and to what extent have we done that?
Okay, let me just quickly say that the issue of the consumer rights, even though it has been as old as man, so to say, but in Nigeria it is still developing. And it has not really come to that point where the consumer has absolute protection from the monopoly of the market, of the producers. We have certain situations where you find out that, like, there was a situation recently when somebody called and said, I took a bottle of a soft drink. I bought a bottle of soft drink and I took half of the content. When I took half of the content, I now looked at it and I discovered that there were foreign particles inside. In such a situation, she was talking to the Consumer Rights Project, which is an NGO where I belong, and she was now asking, what do I do in such a situation? When you come in contact with such situations, you find out that it is not just about the monopoly of the producer in marketing of the products per se, but even on the issue of the consumer going to the court to prove a case against them. You understand? So it becomes difficult for the individual to have a claim from the manufacturer. So, and on the other hand, when you are talking about the monopoly of the market, we have not really seen a particular product that is absolutely monopolized by a single company. There might be 1 or 2 other variations, but they are integrated in such a way that even if there are about 4 manufacturers, they are all saying the same thing to the consumer. So the consumer may not really have absolute right. And because of the fact that this law is still developing, this was signed just recently, and I'm not very sure that the whole conditions about the law is already in place. You understand?
Okay.
There are still certain things that needs to be done, and until this thing starts to work, because when you read the law, you see that a lot of things need to be put in place. When it starts to work, we can now see the extent to which the new law can break such monopolies.
Okay, I'd like you to just hold on for a minute. We're going on a break. We have been talking about the Lagos State Consumer Protection Law, not just about the Lagos State now, but the consumer protection laws generally. We have been speaking with the head of Lagos office of the Consumer Protection Council, Tamuno Kumbia, and a legal practitioner, Ebube Chinwike. We've been looking at these issues, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation.